Honestly, you're the blueprint. I mean, like, in terms of, like, looking sickening at the camera and being funny. It's like, you know how to do that already.
Okay,
so.
cool.
Okay, cool.
Yay. I've been practicing in the shower.
In my crumble opinion. Hello, my beautiful crumb fiends. It's me, Phoebe Cakes, and you're tuning into In My Crumble Opinion. If you don't know anything about us, we are a interview style podcast, visual podcast, where I interview Bay Area legends and up and comers, and we talk about all things Bay Area drag and beyond. How can you support us? You can subscribe to our Patreon. You could like, comment, and subscribe. Right now, we're in a comment mining situation. We really want to hear what you want to listen to, what you want to experience with this podcast. But we're also really trying to grow our audience. So the more that you engage with us, the more you share our videos, the more it helps us out, find our footing and see where we want to grow and go. And that's about it. In just a few moments, my guest is arriving, and she's gonna gag the children. She's like one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. So while that's happening, I'm gonna go put some fucking nails on because my hands are naked. So I'll be back soon. Oh my god, I am here with the Jillian Gnarling.
Wow.
You are honestly like I can't believe I'm doing this because I just a part of me always thinks that some people are just like too cool to be around, and I am not a cool person. I talk about this with like Beverly Chills because I also find her like a very cool person, and like you're the coolest.
Wow.
I like look up to you. But not in like you're old and I'm young sort of way. I'm pretty sure I'm older than you, but I'm just like I idolize you.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
Who are you again? How do we know each other?
I don't know. I'm nobody. I'm Phoebe Cakes. Actually, I'm really bad at saying my name on my own podcast, so people have to remind me. It's like, say your name. Okay, so you are Jillian Gnarling. You are, as Princess Pinocha said, like number one up and coming drag queen for like 14 years in a row or something like that.
Okay, I'm so glad we're opening with that because I just felt like that was I laughed so hard.
Yeah.
And I think about that all the time because that's my new drag bio. I'm never going to write like an artist bio again, you know?
Do you, how do you like that reputation and where do you think it comes from? Or where does it come from?
Oh, geez. I don't know. Is that like a reputation as being like kind of a loser?
Or just having a mythology that...
you know what? I think it's a little
grow.
fascinating because as far as I remember it in the before times, I wasn't that cool. And,
really?
I thought I was just like a loser too, you know, like everybody else. And somehow I'm so cool all of a sudden. And I think it's because I took my pussy away.
Oh, yeah.
I took the pussy out of the game, and now everybody is coming at me like those little fish come for skin in those pedicure bowls that you get, but they're coming for my pussy because I took it away. But I don't really think I deserve this reputation. I'll take it. But I honestly, I don't know what is happening. I don't know where it came from. Yeah. What happened?
I don't know. I think people tend to be really modest on the show, which is kind of funny to me because I think what I've learned through doing the show is that actually everybody is addled with anxiety all the time.
Oh yeah.
And imposter syndrome, and also everyone's like really sickening and amazing. So I mean, maybe that's just me kind of like projecting, but you are kind of like the bitch, and
wow.
please bring your pussy back. I'm part of that campaign. Okay, so just tell us, where did Jillian Gnarling come from? Where was she born?
Well, really at the Stud. Jillian Gnarling was born at the Stud. But I kind of like got into drag. Well, first of all, I just always wanted to be a drag queen when I was a kid. RuPaul on TV, I was like, oh, finally. Yeah. Like a woman I want to grow up to be, because I never saw like, besides like Kelly Bundy, I never saw like a girl on TV or in a movie or something I thought was cool. So like RuPaul, I was like, yes, when I grow up, I'm going to be RuPaul.
Yeah.
Which I told my family, which they were like, no, you can't do that. And I just, like, didn't understand what they were saying. That, like, RuPaul was a man in a dress. Or, like, the ladies in Tu Wong Fu were men.
Yeah.
I just didn't, that did not comprehend to me at all. It was like, they're wearing dresses.
Yeah.
They have lipstick on.
Yeah.
What do you mean that's a man? That's not a man. That's my future. This is what I'm going to do. So I like knew I always wanted to be a drag queen, and I didn't know that was something that was like allowed.
Mm-hmm.
And then flash forward in my like 25s, somebody sent me a picture of Vane Hain.
Vane Hain?
Uh-huh.
I don't know Vane Hain.
That they are now Scam Likely.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know what I'm
Okay,
talking
yeah, I
about?
do know who you're talking. Yeah,
with
heinous. You're heinous sometimes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So somebody showed me a picture of them on Facebook, and I was like, "What the fuck is that? That's a drag queen?"
Yeah.
And so then I started just showing up where they were performing.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I was in this David Bowie cover band. And one of the gals was working in a restaurant with a drag queen who was my drag mother, Cockatilia.
Okay.
And she needed backup singers for Sister Roma's roast that was at the Supper Club.
Wow.
And Tilly, Cockatilia, rewrote a bunch of like classic 80s songs to be about Sister Roma and then hired us to sing backup.
Wow.
And then at some point, like somebody in a giant penis costume came out or something. I'm not really sure, but it was like this kind of gang of really kind of rough and tough drag folks that got together. And then from there, I just started working with Cockatilia at like Tranny Shack.
Okay.
And doing dancing, like salsa dancing.
Is Cockatilia still around?
She lives in Russian River now.
Okay.
So I don't know that she's really doing drag and stuff anymore, but she had like big production numbers, like so many backup dancers. And it's funny because I'm not good at dancing or learning choreography. So I was always like way in the back in the very left corner, just such a loser.
Yeah.
But I did it. And so then somewhere in between like doing the Tranny Shack, like, you know, it's like the legendary story. You show up and you do half a good job. You are pimped out to everyone.
Yeah.
So I was rolling through Tranny Shack doing backup stuff and then kind of getting my way into doing drag on my own through Stuff at the Stud.
How did you end up being a part of this House of Roode?
Okay. Technically, really, I think so. I met Fatima at a show called Cocktail Gate, which is Suppository Spelling's show, and it was at a bar called Truck, which was...
I remember that show.
Do you remember that show? Yeah. It was so good.
Truck was a funny place. They made it like a speakeasy, like sex club vibe. You needed to get in. You needed like a password.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a fuck club. Like they were just fucking in there on a Tuesday night.
And they would play like videos of people fucking in the club. So it was like a very meta experience.
I like that. I didn't go to those nights, but I did go on Sundays for Cocktail Gate. And so that's where I first saw Fatima. And I don't actually know how I saw her at first because I was so blackout drunk like the whole entire fucking time for many years. But I kind of think she like crawled out of a garbage bag and then was like covered in blood and had these long nails and was just like digging through her mouth and like flipping her leg up over her head and just doing all this crazy stuff. And again, I was like, you're allowed to do that?
Yeah. Just like RuPaul.
Just like RuPaul. Just like seeing Vane on Facebook, like, wow, blew my mind. So I just kind of started working with her through some other nightclub and we became friends. But then really what happened is Fatima was moving to get married and was moving out of kind of like a hoarded SRO, and Glamour was like, you need to go and be with your family and like clean out this SRO. And I was like, what do you mean? Mm-hmm. And she was kind of like, you know, never too straight up, but this was very straight up. She was like, this is your mother. Yeah. And I was like, no, she's my baby, because we had this relationship where like she suckled at my teat literally and also figuratively. And then Glamour was like, whatever you want to call it, like that's your mother. You need to go participate in this and take care of her. And then it just kind of became what we call the Roode family jewels. Wow. Me and Cochina and Hollow. I think really because we gutted out the SRO.
Wow.
Which was so fun. I love Hoarders,
Yeah.
the show. It's like my favorite show. And she literally held up every single item that she owned and told us where she got it, where she wore it, what it meant, why it smelled like that. Yeah, exactly. And it was so much fun.
I don't know if you're being sarcastic
No,
or
I'm
not.
so serious.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a great time. It was
wow.
really fun.
I have a very hard time letting go of things. I'm actually like the state of this house. Like, thank God there's like a lot of storage, but like all my previous apartments, I kind of feel like I'm on the border of being a hoarder. Was it like the show, or was it a little?
No, it was like the show.
It was like the show.
Yeah, not gross, but just like stacks and stacks and boxes. No bodies.
No bodies.
Not that we could find.
How's your relationship with your family now? Do you do family get-togethers?
We try to, but it's hard because everyone's so cool and busy.
Yeah. What would you say would be like the defining kind of feature, or like the Roode gene that everybody has?
Really, when I think of like Fatima Roode, I think of, she's so many things, did so many things, but really what I think stands out about her to me is this like massive authenticity, like a person who can't not be themselves, a person who makes it look easy to do the hardest thing in the world to do, which is to just be who you are. And I think that's what we all have. Yeah. I think for better or for worse, none of us could stop being who we are. Even if we tried, I'll speak for myself, I try all the time to be someone else and it doesn't work. But I think that's what we have, is just like these big balls of authenticity that are maybe a little bit scary, but we're not really scary. Yeah. And all three of us are little bitches, actually. Yeah. Truly.
I mean, like, I agree. I think you hit the nail on the head. You are all bitches with big balls that can't help but be big ball bitches. So you mentioned RuPaul, Fatima, Vane Hain. Mm-hmm. Do you have any other drag inspirations, or maybe not even drag, but like other inspirations that kind of inform Jillian as a persona and?
Oh yeah. Okay, character? Well, definitely, do you remember when, like, Lindsay Lohan, Britney Spears, and Paris Hilton were flashing their pussies everywhere? Yeah. Oh, my God. A thing. Moment. My drag was born. Yeah. I couldn't believe they were flashing their scraggly little pussies like that. And I just thought, what? You're allowed to do that? I'm going to do that, too. Pussy flashing is definitely, like, a major cornerstone of my drag. Mm-hmm. I also learned about pussy flashing from a friend's girlfriend who ended up being like way better a friend than this friend of mine. Yeah. And she just flashed her hairy pussy all the time, just like really sweetly and comically. And I just couldn't stand it. I was like, wait, one, you're allowed to have a hairy pussy, and two, you can show everyone. How,
if I wanted to get into it, is it more of like, is the art like it happens to be there when you're getting out of the car, or like you're bending over to pick something up, or do you pick like random moments to be like, boom?
I think I'm a more obvious pussy flasher. I want to make sure you know that I know and we know, and I want to see what happens.
Wonderful.
But also, I think I could never talk about my drag inspirations without talking about Suppository Spelling. Okay. Who is just, to me, like the most iconic performer. I really studied Suppository Spelling, and Johnny Rocket, and Rita Dambuk, who are the kind of like three of Cocktailgate during that little period of time that I was going. Yeah. And they're just like phenomenal performers. Oh, yeah. And I just studied them for like 2 years before I did drag. So I couldn't possibly talk about my pussy flashing inspo without talking about Suppository Spelling. Yeah.
We're going to talk about the roast a little later, but it did make me think of like, I was cut off kind of prematurely and didn't get to kind of like my segment where I talked about you. Like ketamine sprinkled on French onion soup. But when I was writing my roast, I like really couldn't come up with like a real read for you, just because I thought you're like kind of like one of the cool girls on the panel, and I was like, I don't want to do that. But one thing that I did come up with was like, I was gonna call you culturally appropriating ugliness. And like point to La Chucha and go like, yeah, her culture is not a costume or something like that. But
wow, that's really good. That's really good because it gives me a heart attack.
Yeah.
And then it's really funny.
Yeah, exactly. So, can you talk about like I feel like you do kind of subvert kind of beauty standards or expectations in your drag.
Yeah, I think originally it came from kind of feeling like I do pretty girl drag all day. I get up ugly and make myself pretty and safe so I can go out into the world. So the idea of like doing kind of pretty feminine drag just wasn't very attractive to me. I felt like, well, the shackles that I'm in during the day, at nighttime I want to do something else. And I'm really attracted to things that are just like a little bit fucked up. Yeah. Like something that you kind of look at and you're like, what? That's not right. Yeah. Like something isn't not right there.
When I first discovered who you were, I was like, kind of like studying you and just like, is that hairline high? And then I was just like, oh no, that's a hallmark of her. Oh yes. Yes.
Is your wig falling? Oh. Yeah, I love the hairline thing, the teeth thing. I feel like it's these little moments that I feel are punishing. I like to punish people a little bit, which is a sickness that I have, and I feel bad about it. But I don't want you to enjoy me all the way because that's too easy. Yeah. And that's my whole life. I want you to suffer for my beauty in the way that I have to suffer. Yeah. Oh my God. Which is not really at all because I don't have to see any of this shit. Which is something I realized pretty long into the game that, wow, it's kind of rude. Like, I would put on these hideous faces and these contacts and just be screaming into the night and then, like, scare myself with my reflection and think, like, wow, I've been in the nightclub. People are on ecstasy. People are S&Ds. And I'm like, with, like, shit dripping out of my mouth. Oh, it's kind of rude, you know? Yeah. This is a new question. I've never asked this on my show. But I feel like this is a safe space and we can be vulnerable with each other. What are some misconceptions you think people have about you? Oh, wow. One, that I'm cool or like legendary in some way. I just think that's very silly. Okay, that's my fault. I do think I'm really cool and I'm really funny. And I do think I'm probably one of the better MCs. However, I think that's kind of weird. I'm probably not as nervous and anxious as everyone else, but I'm pretty anxious and nervous too. Yeah. I also don't think I'm mean, but I think I might be a little bit mean. Yeah. But I don't think
But mean is good. And mean is good for like MCing.
It's good for laughs.
Yeah, totally. How did you get into MCing? From being in the back of like ensemble like drag shows and then to being an MC. Yeah. I did a lot of studying of Vivienne Forevermore, actually, at Club Something, which I was religious. I never missed. I was there every Friday night, whether I was in a show or not. I came early. I was obsessed with Try Something, one of the best shows. Did you ever go? No. So I was a T-Shack girly. I went a lot. And then I got into a car wreck. Didn't learn my lesson, then got a DUI, and then stayed away from going out. And in those shadow months of like not going out and seeing drag, I think that's when Club Something kind of like came up, and I missed that whole wave of like drag. Yeah. So I never got to go, but I feel like I experience it now. Yeah. Yeah. And we actually inherited a lot of clothing from what was Matt's drag name? Dirty Deborah Harry. Do you know her?
No, but I love that.
Yeah, she was a Club Something person too. So
cute. I love that. Well, I would just like look up at Vivienne Forevermore and think like that's the scariest person I've ever seen in my life. They're so smart, so quick, terrifying. And I was like, oh, I want to do that. You're allowed to do that. I want to be so smart and so, whole in myself that I can just have shit coming at me left and right and I'm quick with it. Yeah. So I studied Vivi. And then
the pupil became the master.
No, I do think that Vivi is a better MC than I am, but that she's better when I'm with her, for sure. Oh wow. Yeah. And I don't know how it happened. I was so fucking drunk, honestly. Yeah. I probably just stumbled into a microphone. Someone probably didn't show up one time and then I got on the mic and I thought I was terrible, but people thought I was good, and so then I just kept doing it. And then really Vivienne Forevermore was like, I got this new show, Drag Alive, when it was in person.
Mhm.
And then she like immediately left town for a month or something.
Yeah.
So she was kind of like, here's where you can learn to MC. So go off, figure it out, learn how to MC. And I did. It was not only my therapy, but it was my like Olympics training, my Olympics training. Because it was hard.
Yeah. Well, now I study you, and it's the
goodness.
circle of drag emceeing. Okay, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to learn more about the Drag Live and Stud and the before times and the now times.
Say a prayer for the youth of America. God bless our youth, America.
I do have one last question about like Jillian Gnarling's origin. Did you watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer at all?
Oh yeah.
Okay, there's a demon called Gnarl. I was wondering if they had any kind of influence on you. So this particular demon, do you know what I'm talking about?
No. Please
it's just
tell.
a coincidence. Oh, it's they have a toxin that's secreted from their nails. So when they scratch you, it paralyzes you so that it can like eat you bit by bit. So you don't move and it just like eats you. And like,
wow.
And it kind of reminds me of some of the prosthetic work that you've done. So I was just like, is Jillian like a Buffy
yes,
the Vampire Slayer?
100%. Yeah. That's where it comes from. I love it.
So you talked about doing Drag Alive and then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
And then you did it online. How many months? How long did we do it online for?
We did it for a year.
Wow.
Every week.
Wow.
And then after that,
yeah,
we went to like every other week or something, or once a month. And then at some point I was just like, I can't do it anymore. I don't think we should do it anymore. It was torturous.
Yeah.
It became torturous. Was
it always torturous? Was it fun at any point?
It's hard to say because it was a tortured time. Like I was so depressed, and it was like the only time I got out of bed, I think, a couple of times, a couple weeks. And Hollywood and I were living in a single bedroom apartment that's like a quarter of the size of this room. It was really, really tiny. So setting everything up was like our whole apartment. Like we couldn't leave it overnight. It had to be set up and taken down. So it was intense. Yeah. And given the state of the world at that time, it was also really intense to have a microphone and an opportunity to like talk about current affairs. Yeah. But also be really alone. There was no gauging if the audience was like with you and what you were saying, or if you were just like
screaming into the void.
Bad. Yeah. Fuck you, listen to me. Like, you know, it was intense. It was strange.
I can only speak from the spectator kind of experience of watching Drag Alive, but it was like maybe the most religiously watched online drag show that our households kind of like tuned into. You were going to say something, Angel?
I was just going to say that it was like the highlight of our weeks. It was like we sat down to watch Drag Alive every week.
Yeah. Specifically you.
That's making me cry. Yeah. Then that's what a lot of people said. They were like, you know, this is the only thing I have to look forward to. It means so much to me. And that's basically why we kept doing it, because Vivi was also like severely depressed.
Yeah.
And we like weren't doing well, but felt like we need to do this. Like this is like for our community. And I will never turn down an opportunity to look at myself and talk. Yeah. I have no problem with that. But it felt really like we needed this. Like all of us needed it. We needed this moment, and actually really loved digital drag. The numbers and the music videos everyone was making, I thought it was so fucking cool. And also then I didn't want to ever watch one ever again after a certain point, but still really really incredible stuff.
It's kind of wild to know that we all kind of like poured ourselves into making digital drag numbers. Because right now, if someone said, like, can you make a digital drag number, it would feel like such a gargantuan amount of, like, work that does not feel worth it to me.
Oh yeah.
But at the time, we're just like, okay, let's film. Let's get the camera crew. Let's get the
Yeah.
lights out. And it's just kind of intense. I can't imagine doing a weekly show, week after week. I tried to do a digital show. I did it for 6 weeks. And then, like, at a certain point, I was just like, this is not worth it. But what kept you going?
I think really just feeling like it was needed. Like I don't think it would be fair to say it was selfless.
Yeah.
Because I was literally staring at myself and talking and laughing at my own jokes maniacally, like having a really great time. But it felt like this is an opportunity for me and my really good close friend to like support a community we really love. Mm-hmm. And I loved doing Drag Alive in person. It was beautiful. It was really fun and hard. And I think it just kind of helped us not lose our minds entirely to like have this thing to do. Producing
that show, one of the things that I also kind of like regarded, and this is kind of more speaking to my own personal taste, I just felt like the quality of the drag that you showed at Drag Alive was just like very high and very interesting. How was the curatorial process like, you know, getting performers to like submit videos and kind of curating the show? You didn't do any of it? Okay,
no,
yeah.
I would keep a little list of performers I would see that I was like, ooh, I saw so-and-so on the show, we should hit them up. But I only just chimed in every so often with like, ooh, we should book so-and-so, or look at this person. That was all Vivi, and I think it was all Vivi. Maybe Jerry Lee was doing some producing as well. Mm-hmm. I really came in hot with the script writing.
Okay.
Vivi would like write a script. It's like something about Drag Alive, even in person, required a script for some reason, which I thought was just so fucky, and I would just rip it to shreds every time.
Wow.
Of course, because I'm such an asshole. But I would just like rewrite the script, lay out the show, like kind of work on flow stuff. And Vivi did lots of writing a script I hated and rewrote every week, booking everybody. I mean, they're just amazing. Yeah. That's just what they do.
That's a lot of work. Are you familiar with the James Somerton drama that's going on in the YouTube like essay verse?
No, I don't even know who that is.
Okay, that's James okay. You shouldn't know who they're just like a...
Are these your competitors?
No, we don't compete. We're not in the same kind of market, I guess you would call it, or like channel. We occupy different spaces on YouTube. But they're canceled recently for like mad plagiarism. Wow. Mostly of like other queer writers, and but just like that, the idea of just like kind of plagiarizing an entire script, and just like not even like considering that you and Vivi wrote scripts out for every week. That's like a lot of work.
It is.
Yeah.
Vivi likes to work.
Yeah.
Vivi loves to work, and I like to work okay too. We're both Capricorns. Yeah. They like it maybe a little bit more than I do. I like to just rot. Just fully die. It's fine by me.
Yeah.
So I think that also was like maybe busy work.
Yeah.
It was good, nice to be irritated about something other than like the state of the world at that time, and so Vivi just came in and really gave it to me.
Oh. Well, you also just like watched a bunch of drag just by putting the show on. Maybe. So how many numbers per episode would you say?
Oh my gosh, like 9 or 8 or something.
9 or 8. And then you did that for 52 weeks. What's math?
It's a zillion.
Yeah, it's a zillion. That's around a zillion. What were your... If you had to create up a criteria for what was a good digital drag number, what made digital drag numbers successful?
A quality camera, sound, those two things. Outside of that, I was just down for them all. I think they were all really great. My personal taste kind of always would roll for grittier performances. Yeah. I like what are the like technical effects, like when people would build stuff and like do stuff with their fingers, and like kind of lower tech moments. I also loved like all of Nikki's that were like actual music videos were so good. I really loved one from Dia Deer that I'm not really remembering all the way, but thinking like, wow, that was really smart. Yeah. Like the creative kind of kookiness was really fun.
Yeah. I miss digital drag for that specifically.
There's one I remember seeing on Drag Alive by someone from New Orleans, I think, called Viz Queen.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like they're in like a mirror box.
Yes.
Their head was like in a box of mirrors. And it's like, I still watch it every once in a while because it's still like one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, okay, I remember that one. That was really good. And that drag performer is just super sick.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Before hosting Drag Alive, you hosted Drag Alive Live.
Mm-hmm.
But you had other shows too? What other shows did you put on?
I put on a show with my friend Meredith called Stereo Argento, and we ran that for 3 years. And it was quarterly, and it was a horror movie night. Horror night, but like of the 70s Italian horror movie vibe.
Yeah.
So we had Italo disco DJs and kind of like highbrow horror a little bit. And it was fun as fuck. It was really great working with Meredith. She is a movie nerd and a movie maker. So kind of like her brain child. And we just worked together making these kooky little videos and putting on all these crazy numbers. And it was so fun. Yeah. Until it wasn't. And then it was like...
Did it end before the pandemic?
It ended before the pandemic,
okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Maybe like in 2019 or 18. I'm not really sure. But it felt good to stop a show. To have a show, it'd be really good. It's still going really good. And just say, like, I kind of don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. It's maybe a little more stressful.
That is powerful.
Than it's fun anymore.
Yeah.
3 years is a long time to do the same thing.
And there's a lot to be proud of there.
Yeah.
Did you watch the new Suspiria?
Oh, yeah.
How do you think it compares to the original?
I loved it. I don't know if it compares to the original. That's like totally different. But I am not a movie snob at all. Yeah. I love every movie, basically. I just love movie. Yeah. If it's a movie, I'm watching, I'm loving it. And I thought it was gorgeous. Who doesn't want to look at me a goth? Yeah. I love a monochromatic moment. Give it to me. I loved it.
I tried to make those corded things. It just looked like I was wrapped in yarn. You talked about taking your pussy away. Yeah. Well, and I interpret that as like just you stepped away from drag for a little bit. What is that about? What brings you out of the woodwork?
What brings me out of birthdays? I guess you can book me for your birthday. That's what I've been doing so far. Truthfully, before COVID happened and the pandemic started, I was feeling really, really burnt out. Yeah. I work as a hairstylist in real life. And part of that is like being a personality and selling something to people, and then doing drag like basically full time on top of that is also having a personality and selling something to people. And I was just getting so tired of like being looked at, having to, not that I ever like behave in a certain way that I'm supposed to, but it's just kind of exhausting to be, my job is myself, is my body. And I never get to take a break from that job. It's like, exhausting. So before the pandemic, I was planning on taking a month off and going into the desert and doing a fuck ton of drugs and just hanging out. Yeah. And even had the Airbnb booked, and then everything closed down and I got my Airbnb refunded and then was locked in a basement for a year and a half. Yeah. So I was already tired. I was already ready to like take a break from being looked at. Then Drag Alive once a week happened, and then I was really just feeling like alone and looking at myself with no audience. It was like really an intense experience, and I just decided I needed to go away. Yeah. And through like the horrors of everything that's happened in the world since 2020, I've just learned so much about myself and changed so much, and I felt like I really needed to disintegrate into nothing so that I could come back. But the disintegrating just took forever. Yeah. I mean, you just couldn't die hard enough. And I finally feel like some fertilizer, maybe a little sprout is coming in here and there, and I feel a little bit more like I can withstand putting makeup on and being looked at, but it just died to me. I just couldn't do it anymore. Yeah. And no FOMO either, just couldn't fucking give one shit. Yeah. Oh, also another thing was feeling like, I already felt kind of burnt out and tired of doing everything, and that I was taking up so much space. Like, I don't really want to be doing the shows I was doing. I sure as shit didn't want to promo anything. I just lied and told everyone I didn't have Facebook or Instagram or anything, so I wouldn't have to post stuff. Like, it was bad. And I realized, like, I was taking up space that someone who would really want to do it could be in there, and that crushed me. I don't want to take a space from someone else, so then I really was like, oh, now I have this excuse. Yeah. It's for other people. I want other people to have the chance. So I'll just go to bed for a couple years and maybe I'll come back. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you did create a vacuum, and now it's been filled up with less quality stuff, I think.
Oh, you think so?
No, I don't know. No, strike that for the record. We're going to cut that one out, too. So the stud closed during the pandemic. How was that experience for you?
It was sad, but also I think because I was, at that point, then just like kind of working closer with the stud than I ever had before.
Yeah.
It felt surreal and not real. And really, only after things opened back up, maybe even just last year, I kind of started grieving the loss of the stud because it just wasn't real.
Yeah.
I never was driving by those horrid fascist gray walls.
Yeah.
And now I drive by all the time and just know that it's over. It's
Yeah.
over. That time is over. Everything, it's done. And it's really sad. It's so sad. That was where I gave birth to myself. That was like the living room. I would just go there any night. And you're never alone. You can always make a friend. And they were elders. There were old trans people there. And you could dance with them and talk with them and kiss them all night. And it was like, I miss that so much. I miss old people. I miss
kissing
those gals
old people,
so much.
scaring them with your teeth. Are you hopeful with the stud with the new location and reopening?
Yeah, I think that it's a gorgeous location. I think that nothing will be like it was in the same way that nothing was like what it was when Michael left the stud. But I do have faith. I think that the folks of the collective are really brave and kind to steward the stud for us and to keep it open for as long as they have and hopefully for as long as they'd like to. And I think whatever they're able to fucking muster up for us is really cool and impressive, and I would love to be really supportive of that, and I am hopeful. Yeah. I think they can do it.
Do you have a show idea? You're such a good MC. Would you just guest MC at other shows, or do you have a show in you again?
I don't know. I have no drag plans of the future at all, but I do have a show idea.
Are we allowed to know a secret?
Oh yeah, I'm telling everybody. Why keep it to myself? Okay, It's called Friction. It's a denim night for dykes, and it's a frottage party.
Oh!
So everybody has to wear denim, really tight or loose, whatever floats your boat, and we just come on each other's legs while drag performers do denim numbers.
I love it.
Right?
Yeah, that's really good.
Fun, yeah. I'm just waiting for the outfit to appear. I need a denim top, and then,
We all need a denim top. Okay, we're going to take another short break, and when we get back, more with Jillian Gnarling. Okay, I'm here with Jillian Gnarling. Not that you forgot, because these commercial breaks.
Edited.
Yeah. I alluded to the roast that we did together. We've actually never really worked together until that roast. I guess I did digital drag alive once or twice.
We were digitally together.
But that was really fun. And I have kind of regarded what you did that night for the roast of Cochina Roode, a birthday party, as equal parts heroism and terrorism. I just feel I went to be funny on the mic, and I tried to make some jokes. I had a good time, but I was just kind of floored by how good you were. And I just feel and you talked about the Roodes having authenticity and having big balls. And I think that was a really clear example of what you were talking about. I just felt what you did was also just so brave.
Wow, thank you.
Specifically because I just feel you, I don't know, addressed, made fun, and also in some ways kind of gave people an opportunity to breathe and acknowledge the elephants in the room. Yeah, I don't know. What was that experience like, writing what you wrote and saying what you said?
Wow. Okay. Well, writing it was not hard.
Yeah.
Because these are just jokes basically that I tell all the time among my friends. And so I was like, okay, I've got 5 jokes already that really slay. I mean, I'm cracking people up with these all the time. And then Cochina was like, will you roast me? And immediately I accepted the gig knowing that I'm not going to roast you.
Yeah.
You're unroastable. You're mentally ill and unroastable. Like, he set his whole life up, so he's just perfect. You couldn't possibly talk shit about him without being a cruel asshole.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it, fuck you. But I could talk shit about Oasis all day, which felt really good to do. And I just am a monster.
Yeah.
Don't invite me to your party and ask me to roast because I am a monster. I don't know what to say. I think I knew I was maybe misunderstanding the assignment because I think there's a big difference between reading and a roast, and I just read.
Yeah.
I did some reading. But
I think there's overlap. It's a Venn diagram.
overlap?
No,
Yeah.
you did roasting.
Did some roasting. Good.
I thought we're a roasty and toasty.
But actually, I was terrified.
Yeah.
Backstage, like, I thought I was going to piss myself and throw up. Juanita Moore, who scares the fucking life out of me, came up to me and was like, hey, girl, how you doing? And I was like, please go away from me. I can't talk to you right now. You're scaring me. I'm scared, lady. And then talking to you, and you're like, oh, I'm so scared. My jokes suck. Talking to so-and-so, and they're like, oh, my jokes suck. I'm so scared. And then I go on stage, and everyone is killing it. These are, like, thoughtful, well-written jokes. The delivery is like, okay. Everything's going really good. And I'm sitting there like, I haven't spoken to a microphone in years, and now the first thing I'm going to do is rip everyone to shreds. Like, what have I done? I definitely was preparing to just get up and walk off stage and just go home and barf and just be like, sorry, I couldn't do it. I really couldn't do it. But I'm glad that I didn't. But I was so scared. I haven't been that terrified to do something in so long. Yeah. And even still, I was like, what? I'm not even really saying anything. I didn't really think that my jokes were that great or like what I had to say was so monumental. I just thought, oh, fuck, I might be being too mean and all my friends are going to hate me after this. And I'm going to have to go home and shave my head and live in the basement.
Oh, well, that's not what happened.
No, it's not. Thank goodness. I couldn't believe people laughed.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought, oh, no one's even going to know who I am. No one's going to even know that my jokes are funny. I'm going to say Mary Vice is ripping me off, and they're going to be like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah. That was actually one of my favorite jokes. I thought that the setup to that was really funny. Where you're
we just like, we always talk about the DMV now, too. Anytime we're like looking for parking, we're like, there's parking.
Yeah. I will say, I'm not like Jillian and hate Oasis. I actually enjoy Oasis. I like a concrete box, especially when it's beautifully designed with like lights and a lot of bathrooms.
Oh, I love the bathrooms.
Yeah,
I didn't say the stuff I loved about Oasis because it just wasn't funny, but I love the bathrooms at Oasis. It's the best part of the whole place. Yeah. They should win an award for that.
But I will say, I think it's like hard to produce a show there. I think like except for like maybe Princess and Reparations, like unless you like really just fill the place up, it's a little awkward. But I mean, I don't know. I like the cabaret nights too. I'm trying to come up with like nice things to say about Oasis because I
always think they should put the audience on the stage and make the seating area the stage.
Ooh.
Like, it should be the opposite.
That sounds like a night at Oasis that you should produce.
I'm not going to do that, but anybody
can
call
have
it
that
DMB.
idea. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. No, I do feel bad. I think Oasis is great. It's just funny to be a hater. And,
yeah, totally.
To anybody who's young and watching this, I am old, and I performed at Oasis when it opened, and so I have every right to hate it if I want to.
It's true.
I brought a pig head in there once, and Heckelina looked like she was going to fucking rip my face off.
Like a pig head?
Yeah, there was a time when I was
like
really
Lord
into...
of the Flies number?
I was really into skinning the face off of a pig and drilling it into a helmet and then having someone like wear the helmet as their face and doing these like really creepy horror numbers. It's kind of fucked up, but the year that it opened, I performed at the Star Search pageant and lost devastatingly. I thought I was going to win for sure, but my number was fucked.
Who won that year?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay.
Not somebody that we know or whatever.
Okay.
But so then they were like, okay, now you're on the roster of queens we asked to do Mother. So I came and did a Mother number, and it was like prom themed. And I did a Sky Ferreira song, You're Not the One.
Okay, yeah.
And I had like all these different guys come and dance with me a little bit. And in the background screen, there was this video of a pig fetus being operated on or something. It was gruesome. And then the last person came out and he had this pig thing on and we like waltzed in this suit. And, you know, I just would carry the pig in a garbage bag. And so I just like opened it and Heclena's face was like, she already was like, you know, I think I was a bit too much of a
On the
mess
fence
for her.
about it,
Yeah. And then that happened and then I was never asked back again. Which was fine by me. I don't think I did very well. It's not really like for me. I do love watching like big production numbers, and I love watching Princess on TV. I watch Princess on TV all the time. I think it's great, and Reparations too. Yeah. Which is also one of the best things about Oasis. I mean, it's so cool that you can watch stuff on TV. That alone is worth everything. Yeah. Everything.
We're you know how we share like Netflix password? We're like the number one Oasis password giver outer. I'm sorry, but we do. We give out the password a lot.
I love
but
it.
Yeah,
I think I'm signed into someone's and I pay $9.99 a month.
Yeah. We're patrons. We love you, Oasis. This is another kind of just like random question. I'm just like testing it out with you. Trying to be vulnerable and stuff. So I kind of like talk a little bit about my imposter syndrome and how that I'm addled by that, but also I'm just like trying to think of like what are the things in which hold me back as a drag performer. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just like stage fright sometimes just like comes out of nowhere, and then also like perfectionism, like wanting everything to be like what holds you back as a drag performer, you think?
Talent. I don't have any talent. It's really hard to perform without any talent. I think what I feel the most insecure about now is costumes. I don't have any clothes. Yeah. I don't even know what I want my costumes to be. And really for years, I've just performed naked because I don't fucking know what to wear. And I don't know where to get it or like what to do. So coochies and titties out because it's easier. You
could outsource costuming to somebody else that you trust. I think that's totally fine. People don't do their own wigs. You know what I mean? So why would you expect to like also do your own styling costumes? Like you can't be everything. I mean, you can.
Wow, no, I love that. Yeah. If anybody out there wants to style me, call 1-800. Come get it. Yeah.
No, but no, that's very interesting because I do feel like sometimes drag these days is like costume first and then everything else second. So, I mean, you could approach drag in a bunch of different ways. I'm not trying to like perk you up. Like, yeah. I mean, like, obviously you look great today.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. This is one of 2 outfits I've bought in the past 3 years.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
What does it say?
It says, you dreamed me here and now I'm stuck here, which I just felt was like a really cool drag slogan.
That is cool. Sentence. Yeah. What does that mean to you?
Well, I'll tell you.
Okay.
I think how I like think of it as a drag thing is like people have these ideas of you and then that is their reality of you. So like you can have this imagination about me. You can imagine things about me, imagine that I'm a certain way, and then there I am. I'm stuck right there. Yeah. There's no truth. It's just through your own lens. And so I kind of related that to drag. Yeah. See? And now I'm stuck here. But as far also about performing, I think something that very vulnerably makes me feel kind of nervous now is I feel like there's so much pressure. Like everyone's talking about me like I'm some great thing, but I feel like a regular old piece of shit. So now I'm like, oh my God, you know, I have to do a performance that like proves to everyone I'm as cool as everybody thinks I am. And honestly, I just like to stand there and not move and lip sync to Lana Del Rey. Like that's my number. That's what I want to do.
That's good enough for most people. Impressive. No, I think it's enough for me. You don't even have to wear clothes right now? Oh my God. We don't have rights to like play music on this. It's expensive. We'll probably get flagged or something, but we can definitely do it.
I'll be your private dancer.
Actually, we'll have Vivi's dinner party show. Yeah, when we have it here, we'll have an opening act and it'll be you sitting down doing a Lana Del Rey number.
That will be fun for everyone.
Yeah, with a big head. So, one of your reads was that everyone's just like rhinestoning their outfits now.
Oh my god!
Or like something about LA drag. What do you think is the state of drag in the Bay Area right now? Do you feel like there are trends? Do you feel like what could be our future? What is our present?
First, I would like to say that I'm not participating in the drag, so I couldn't really have an opinion on what's going on because I'm not doing anything to participate in it being any which way.
Yeah.
So if I think it's going one way and I don't like that and I'm just sitting in my house gooning. By the way, I just found out what gooning was. And I just want to let everyone know that I am a gooner. Like, I was born a gooner. I've been gooning since before I hit the double digits. And I didn't know this was like a thing. I'm an all-star gooner. I gooned today all day before I got here. I'm really excited about that.
I'm also like obsessed with gooning. I feel like gooning came into my lexicon like in the relative recent past, and I like go around and going like, you know what gooning is, right? Like just like wanting to talk about gooning with people. I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah, like to me, gooning has like certain hallmarks, like the cross-eyed and the drooling. Do you do that?
Yeah, I have really low blood pressure, so I just start like fainting after a while. And then it's like, okay, maybe you need to take a break and drink some water. Don't get up too fast, and then you can just flow right back in there.
Keep going. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did we get to gooning?
No, what were we talking about?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Oh, the state of drag.
The state of drag. Yeah. I think, so my comment kind of about rhinestoning, it really pertains to like the former grittiness of San Francisco drag. Like, I really didn't wear costumes. I just had tape and like a dirty thong, and I didn't wear hair for a long time. And lots of other people did kooky stuff like that. Like, people were just wearing street clothes, and it was more about the emotion, like the story that someone would take you along the ride of. Like, it was so performance based, really performance heavy, and I couldn't really say what I think performance wise is happening because I'm not really like going out and watching them so much. But aesthetically, like the pussy has been stepped up quite a bit, and there's not really any more kind of like rough around the edges drag. Everybody is really shooting for this like high end moment. I think, probably going from digital drag, people just kind of held on to a little bit of that glitz. Maybe people got more into making their own costumes, more rhinestoning. But I do feel like it's like slap a couple rhinestones on it and now you're better than everyone. I don't think so. No, your performance is terrible. Your mouth's not moving. It doesn't matter if you have spinning fucking whatever. It's like the performance. So like, I want to feel the energetic shift in the room. I want my DNA to change when I watch you. Otherwise, like, it's just fun. Yeah. Which is fun, too. And don't, please, audience, don't. I'm not that judgmental. I really enjoy watching drag. I really like watching people fucking give it their all and, like, live their fantasy. Yeah. And within that, if you aren't that great of a performer, or I don't think you're that great of a performer, it's still so good and still so righteous and like fun to watch, I
agree. You are also very stuck up. No, I'm just
kidding. You're some bitch.
Yeah. Well, I just want to, before we move on, I do want to say it's just like kind of getting a helmet and getting like pig like guts on the helmet and making somebody wear it is like, that takes as much kind of like energy and creativity as like getting a costume,
as rhinestoning.
As rhinestoning. So I'm just like, whatever.
I mean, it was gruesome. I mean, I would like to see any of you try to skin a pig's face off of its head.
Did the skinning yourself.
I did. Oh yeah, I did it all. I also for a time was really into gutting myself, and I got sausage casing.
I saw Mary Vice do that.
But did she fill hers with pudding? Because I put vanilla pudding in mine. Which is like, why was I doing that? I was obsessed. I would find any excuse to gut myself on stage, and it was really smelly and so gross. I don't know how I was throwing these things away, but... Yeah.
Who would clean it up afterwards?
At the Stud in the before times, when it was owned by Michael McElhaney, he would clean it up. Or like the bartenders would clean it up. But also, I've always liked to think I've been pretty cautious, and I would always bring a bag of towels or really try not to spill the guts and stuff like that. And I think I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at not being messy while being messy.
That's good. I learned the hard way. It's just like, oh, you need to clean up after yourself sometimes. Like once I did like this number that had a cake and there's like icing everywhere, but I did not expect that I would have to clean it up afterwards, you know? And then
you were like, how? With what?
Yeah, I was like, are you gonna clean it up? I was like, I wasn't planning on it, but like now I'm just like, okay, I gotta have a plan.
Bring your towels.
Yeah.
Well, can I ask you, like,
Oh,
what do
yeah.
what do you think about drag now?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think there's like this polish or movement toward kind of like an aesthetic kind of pristineness that I think a lot of drag is interested in. Whereas I think when I came into the scene and what I was interested in and what I experienced was that wasn't a priority.
Mm-hmm.
And I think both are good, you know, like the instinct to kind of like change somebody's DNA with a number and like do something moving, do something gritty, can exist in the same space as someone that like wants to stone the fuck out of anything and look really pretty too. So so I think, you know, that's precisely why I like Bay Area drag so much, because I do feel like it was always a place where both things could exist.
Yeah.
But I do feel like, yeah, some of that other kind of drag is being crowded out or deprioritized, you know? So I do kind of like mourn kind of like a loss of that kind of diversity. Am I making sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think
Yeah.
another element I suspect, and I've heard from folks, is like not believing the audience can take it.
Yeah.
Which is just a lie. That's so ridiculous. Of course they can. Don't treat them like they're stupid. They're not idiots.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Like, you decide what the audience can take and enjoy. You don't say that the audience decides.
Yeah.
And I think we tell them. So if you want to do something weird, do it. If you make a little bit less tips, who cares?
Yeah. I think that's the other part of it. It's like we're, you know, a lot of numbers are like now, maybe, I don't know, it's always been that way, but like, you know, designed around the tip.
Yeah.
And
because people tip now. When people didn't tip before in San Francisco.
Oh yeah.
There was like no tipping that went on. Yeah,
I don't really
the
remember.
pandemic,
Yeah.
Nobody would tip. You could bust your ass and you get $7.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Okay.
All the fags would just be like talking the whole time, not paying attention to anything.
That's
get
true.
Nothing.
Oh my god. Yeah.
I really think like Cochina and Lisa have single-handedly changed that in the Bay Area. People tip now.
Yeah.
People tip a lot, just everywhere now because of them. That's what I think.
Thank you, Cochina.
Thank you.
And Lisa. So we don't have to get into the specifics of anything, but you talk about authenticity with the House of Roode and having balls and a lot of, and also just like always talking about the state of the world and how everything's shitty. Where do you think the intersection of protest and drag is right now? I
don't think drag is going to save the world.
Sure.
And I think drag is something that we do to have fun and feel good about ourselves. And no drag performance is going to stop children from being blown up by a fascist government. So it's probably just something that's good for us to do, to feel good and to remember why life is worth living and to express ourselves. But probably what we should do is not sayable on the internet.
Yeah.
Protesting, calling, I don't think that... Well, you know, I don't know. I think a lot of things. I think there's that quote that's like the role of the artist in trying times or whatever is to make the resistance look so fucking cool it's irresistible. Mm-hmm. And I think that the role of an artist is to like express your feelings and your viewpoints and to make art that reflects who you are and what you believe, but also to make it look cool. Yeah. You know, if we're the cool makers, if we're the culture creators, then that's what we should be doing, is making it look so cool to everyone to care about people that they want to do it too.
I just want to say that you do that for me.
Aww.
You know, you make it cool to like do things that are hard and do things that are that shouldn't be controversial but are. So I don't know, like what you said, like that resonates with me. I'm gonna see it. Yeah.
Well, I definitely cried a lot when I watched your video that you made about the drag festival or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And just meant so much to me to hear what you had to say. I think it is really isolating, especially when you're going against the grain that people you've looked up to your whole life are going.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking. And
Yeah.
putting your face and your words out there like that, like that's tough. That's brave. That's big balls stuff.
Yeah.
And I really admire you for
I
that.
have big balls.
Yeah. You're a little rude.
Oh my God. I could die happy. Okay. Well, last question.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you want to see, like, just our community in the future? Like, just Bay Area drag. Where do you want to, or maybe you want to see it return to something? I don't know.
I would love to see, we had like kind of talked about the crossover between drag and something political. And I think those two things aren't able to be separated.
Yeah.
And not really able to be separated in San Francisco specifically. And I would like to see, what are those things called? Like a guaranteed income for artists, more city paid income for artists. That's not fascist, if they could manage to do that at this point. But I would love to see our people taken care of better, like health insurance for performing artists, guaranteed income, things like that. I'd like to see more people doing shows, like having their own shows, and more people doing drag. I think it's there's a lot of people who want to perform and a lot of people who want to get out there, and there's not a lot of places to start.
Yeah.
So more, just more, and more support, like real support.
Great. And Friction is coming soon to the stud. Okay, we are all done with Jillian Gnarling. Wow. Oh my God, what a special time that I have for myself, and I'm glad that I have it on video because I could like return to it and enjoy this moment again. Yay. Would you help me read out my patrons?
Yes, of course.
So these are people in the cake tier level tier of our patronage. So thank you so much. I want to say thank you to Bella,
Rexy Tapia,
Ali Scat,
Anita Bum,
Chris Hendricks,
Clark Alexander,
Diana,
Freddie Seipold,
Kai B. Michaels,
and Raina Terror.
Yay! Thank you so much for being patrons, and thank you for spending time with me and driving all the way over here in your Solara.
It's my pleasure.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Oh, actually, before we go, I've been curious. What have you been drinking? You brought your own drink.
Oh my gosh,
What is the drink?
A nut, and I brought Club Mate.
What is Club Mate?
Oh my gosh, Club Mate is like it is a energy drink from Europe.
Oh.
I'll have to get you one of these sometime. It's so good. It's so good.
Can we get sponsored by Club Mate?
It's really everything. I love it.
Yeah.
If you drink enough of it, your pee will taste exactly like it.
I don't know how you found that out, but I believe it. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
In my crumble opinion.